Dear students, welcome to our class on Micrometeorology of crops, wind 1. Wind, by definition, air in its horizontal motion is known as wind. The direction from which wind comes is known as windward. The direction to which wind goes is known as leeward. There are two winds again. Veering wind and backing wind. From east to west via south in the clockwise direction we call it as a veering wind. Exact opposite anti-clockwise direction from east to west in the east to west via north we call it as the backing wind. East to west via south that is in the clockwise direction we call it as the veering wind, and exact opposite is the backing wind. So like that we try to understand again the importance of wind. Also I would like to share with you. Wind is very important. It is one of the most important weather elements which carries both water vapor and the temperature, or you can say heat also. Once it is carrying the water vapor, precipitation occurs because of the water vapor which is being carried with the wind. As far as the temperature is concerned, stability, neutral conditions, unstable conditions, these are all determined by the wind speed at different heights. In addition to that, as far as the frost protection is concerned, wind play an important role. Similarly, the availability of the carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis, the availability of the oxygen for the respiration, all these most important functions of the plant are determined by the wind. So that's why at the micro level how the wind behaves, as agrometeorologists we should know. No other scientist in agriculture can be appropriate or most suitable to explain the behavior of the wind than agrometeorologists. Please remember, more responsibility is on the shoulders of we, the agrometeorologists, particularly micrometeorologists. Okay, now see here the wind profile, that means the wind structure data provide information on momentum flux. It provides data on the momentum flux. As I said, Newton's law of viscosity, Fourier's law of thermal conductivity, Fick's law of diffusion. So they are the momentum flux I told in elaborate. Now momentum flux means flow, right? Now, and are essential for evaluating transfer of water vapor and CO2. Wind profile determines the transfer of water vapor and carbon dioxide. Similarly, also helps in designing the sprinklers. So, sprinklers are one of the devices or technology. Sprinkler technology is one of the technologies in irrigation. So in designing the sprinklers, wind speed is very important. At least 2 meters above the ground we should take and design the sprinklers. Please note that the wind speed is 0 at the surface. Wind speed is 0 at the surface of the earth. As the height increases from the surface of the earth, the wind speed goes on increasing in general. Now, so what is logarithmic wind profile? What is logarithmic wind profile and what is its equation? Simple equation. Now, see, the logarithmic wind profile equation is equal U is equal 1 by K root tau by rho log n z by z0. So, what is U? Wind velocity at height z, K is a Van Cormeren's constant 0.4. Now see, tau, as I said several times, shearing stress. This is the density of the air. Z0 is the roughness parameter. In the old books you will find only a roughness. Right. Now what is that? We discuss elaborately in this class itself. Now before we go to stability and logarithmic wind profile, I would like to just enlighten you on two important points. If you take according to logarithmic wind profile, equation, the wind speed near the ground increases. The wind speed near the ground, presume that this is the wind speed near the ground increases okay, as the height increases exponentially, it increases. This is the implication of the logarithmic wind profile equation. The wind speed increases exponentially with height. Okay, now over a moderately rough surface, for example, okay, this is a short crop. Over a short crop, this is a tall crop. Over a moderately rough surface of a short crop, and if you compare it with a relatively tall crop, what happens with reference to the wind speed, that is the wind profile. You see, for a short grass, the logarithmic wind profile holds true only above a hypothetical height z0, known as roughness of the surface or roughness parameter. Z0 here, U is 1 by K, sharing stress density of the air log n Z by Z0. This is so here for this crop. Unlike the smooth surface from the surface, for a short grass, the a hypothetical height is there where from where the logarithmic wind profile characters are exhibited, or in other words, this logarithmic wind profile equation holds good at certain height from the surface. This is what we call it as the roughness parameter. This is what we call it as the roughness parameter. And if you take the atmospheric conditions here, if you take the stability of the atmosphere and logarithmic wind profile, these bits are possible, 100% possible in the SRF. Okay, JRF possibility is 50%, in SRF 100% possibility. What is it? Stability of the atmosphere and logarithmic wind profile. If you are interested to know what is the stability of the atmosphere, I have published very good videos on basics and advances of 3. Number 1, Reynolds number. Number 2, Richardson analogy. Third one, Nusselt number. Basically this and other things also, non-dimensional numbers. If you try to recollect those videos, if you have not studied, please go and then watch, learn from those videos. Basics and advances fully I have covered in an elaborate way. Now, Richardson number is the number, of course, buoyant forces and frictional forces. The relation between the buoyant forces and frictional forces, Richardson number. So that Richardson number under the neutral conditions, this bit will come. What is it? Richardson number equals 0 under neutral condition. Richardson number is negative under the super adiabatic condition. Richardson number is negative under super adiabatic. It is positive during the temperature inversion. That's what I told. Again I repeat, Richardson number is a dimensional less number. Of course, it gives a wonderful information about the buoyant forces and frictional forces. Now, under the neutral conditions, the Richardson number reaches 0. What exactly does it mean? See, when neutral conditions are existing in the atmosphere, what will happen? The logarithmic wind profile holds good, excellent. Now, as far as super adiabatic conditions is concerned, Richardson number is negative. When it is positive during the temperature inversion, which is usually happening in the nights, both in the tropical areas and other latitude areas. This I would like to share with you. And again, the wind structure, if you are interested to know, here the wind structure over a maize crop, if you see, presume that the maize crop height is 250 centimeters. Now, this is relatively tall as compared to grass. Here there is a hypothetical height. What I told is the roughness parameter, that is Z0. There is some Z0. Now, there is one D called as zeroplane displacement. This is the roughness parameter. This is the zeroplane displacement D, small d. In the older book you will find capital D. Now, the height where maximum, the height from the surface it is 220, or from the top it is 30 centimeters. Here, this is what we call it as the zeroplane displacement D, which acts as the sink for most of the moment of flux. It acts as sink. From here, if you see, below this, the wind speed decreases. from here the logarithmic wind profile holds good. So for a tall crop like this, again if you see from the statements, I would like to say zeroplane displacement is roughly the order of the depth of the layer of the air trapped among the plants. Where most of the air is trapped, we call it as the D. Okay, zeroplane displacement. Again, for the academic interest of my beloved students, I explained to you what is D and what is Z0 elaborately, both at the basics, at the PG and PhD level also. Please watch those videos. Here we are studying micrometeorology of crops. Here another implication is that the zeroplane displacement is regarded as zeroplane displacement D is regarded as a place for sink of the momentum. That you remember, this bit will come in the SRF. Now here, if you take two conditions, okay, if it is a short grass-like structure, okay, you can take measurement smoothly, very happily. As far as relatively, okay, when a crop is grown in the rows, okay, where there is exposure of the in between the rows, so there is soil exposure, canopy is not uniform. Under those conditions, for taking the logarithmic wind profiles, you should take wind speed at least 3 different heights. You may use any handheld anemometers, no problem, but at 3 heights you have to take it. So in this class I tried my level best to explain to you what is basically D and Z0 for the crop and only logarithmic wind profile. Okay, so without the knowledge and study or measurement of logarithmic wind profiles, we cannot advance in micrometeorology of the crops with reference to wind. That's why. So we tried to understand these things. Thanking you for your patient hearing.